Hi students, welcome to lesson number 30.
Social stratification, caste, concept, characteristics and functions. Let us introduce to the subject. Social stratification refers to the division of people into layers or strata, which may be thought of as being vertically arranged above or below other layers. The arrangement of persons in a society is enormously more complex and social strata are not visible. When we talk of social stratification, we draw attention to the unequal positions occupied by individuals in society. Sometimes the term is used very broadly to refer to every kind of inequality, although it may be useful to restrict it to inequalities between groups or categories of persons with a definite or at least a recognizable identity. Let us look into the objectives. 1. To know the meaning and characteristics of social stratification. 2. To study the definition and meaning of caste system. 3. To study the characteristics of caste system. 4. To learn the theories of origin of caste. 5. To analyze the changes in caste system. Let us introduce to the meaning of social stratification. Societies are divided into hierarchical groups in a way that though various groups are considered unequal in relation to each other, but within one group members are viewed as equals. Two main criteria social stratification are caste and class, but some other recognized units of stratification are age, gender and race or ethnicity too. The process by which individuals and groups are ranked in more or less enduring hierarchy of status is known as stratification. The term stratification denotes the process or condition in which the layers or the strata of process or groups are ranked differentially, so that a one stratum contains many persons or groups of roughly the same rank. Social stratification is different from social differentiation. The term differentiation has broader application as it makes individuals and groups separate and distinct from each other for purposes of comparison. For example, within class strata, income, occupation and education provide basis for differentiation and comparison. Stratification occurs where differences are ranked hierarchically in all societies. There is social differentiation of the population on the basis of age, sex and personal characteristics. There is no society without some differentiation. Let us look into the characteristics of social stratification. The phenomena of stratification properly commands much attention from sociologists because of 5 important characteristics it exhibits. It is ancient, it is ubiquitous, socially patterned, diverse and it has far reaching consequences. 1. The antiquity of social stratification. According to historical and archaeological records, stratification was present even in the small wandering hands that characterized society in the earliest days of man. In such primitive conditions, both age and sex in combination with physical strength have been important criteria of stratification. 2. The ubiquity of stratification. Stratification is present in non-literate societies whose traditions are largely oral and for whom the technological features of civilizations based on writing science and discovery are as yet only of tangential importance. For instance, among the Bushmen who hunt, gather their food and live in bands of 50 to 100 people, each of which is self-governing. Stratification is present though is very rudimentary forms. Hence, no strata in the ordinary sense are found. 3. The social patterning of stratification. Although differences in such factors as strength, intelligence, age and sex can be serve as basis on which positions are distinguished, such differences are by themselves sufficient to explain why some receive more power, property and prestige than others. Biological traits do not become relevant in patterns of social superiority and inferiority until they are socially recognized and given importance by being incorporated into the beliefs, attitudes and values of the human beings involved. 4. The significance of norms and sanctions. The social pattern aspect of stratification also suggests that the distribution of rewards in any community is governed by norms. That is, conventional rules at any given moment, the norms are likely to reflect the interest of those who have enough power to enforce the rules they deem best. Virtually, every community conforms to such rules. 5. Inherent instability of social arrangements. If norms have stability and continuity because of the socialization process and the sanctions that ensure conformity, they are also unstable and discontinuous partly because that process and those sanctions never work perfectly. They are always uneven in their effectiveness from one family to the next and from one generation to the next. For this reason, every system of stratification is continuously changing. 6. The connection of stratification with other institutions. To say that stratification is also implies that the system of stratification is always connected with other aspects of a society. We speak of connections as institutional interdependencies or institutional interrelationships, and we mean that the existing stratification arrangements are affected by and have effects upon such their matters as politics, kinship, marriage and the family, education and so on. Let us look into the concept of caste. Caste is social phenomena found in almost all human societies, but nowhere had it taken such a well defined and rigid form as it did in India. Caste implies an element of hereditary and birth in social stratification. In India, we come across a special type of social stratification known as caste system. Though some features of caste can be found in other parts of the world, what we find in India is basically different from other forms of social stratification one finds in the world. The Hindu social organization is based on caste system, which is so rigid that one cannot change his caste. The caste system finds its origin in the Spanish word casta, meaning breed or race. Basically, caste means people belonging to the same breed, race, system or complex hereditary qualities. The Portuguese applied this term to the classes of people in India known by the name jati. The English word caste adjusted of the original term casta. Caste as a unit and as a system. In India, caste is used of hierarchical ranking and exists side by side. Caste, which is rooted in religious beliefs, is considered a more important basis of social stratification for social, economic and religious purposes. Caste is a hereditary social group which does not permit social mobility to its members. It involves ranking according to birth, which affects one's occupation, marriage and social relationships. Caste is used both as a unit and as a system. As a unit, caste is defined as a closed rank status group, that is, a group in which the status of members, their occupations, the field of mate selection and interaction with others is fixed. As a system, it refers to collectivity of restrictions, namely restrictions on change of membership, occupation, marriage and commensal and social relations. In this context, there is a presupposition that in caste can exist in isolation and that each caste is closely involved with other caste in the network of economic, political and ritual relationships. Caste structural and cultural concepts. Caste is looked upon as structural as well as a cultural phenomenon. As a structural phenomenon, it refers to interrelated status, patterned interaction among caste on the basis of different restrictions and a stable set of social relations. As a cultural phenomenon, it is viewed as a set of values, beliefs and practices. The structure of the caste system is such that it has an organized pattern of interrelated rights, obligations of members of each caste and individual caste as groups in terms status, roles and social norms. Let us look into the definitions of the caste. According to C.H. Cooley, when a class is somewhat hereditary, we call it caste. According to Risley, it defines caste as a collection of families, group of families bearing a common name, claiming a common descent from a mythical ancestor, human or divine, professing to follow the same hereditary calling and regarded by those who are competent to give an opinion as forming a single homogeneous community. According to Kelkar, a social group having two characteristics. One, membership is confined to those who are born as members and includes all persons to be born. 2. The members are forbidden by an inexorable social law to marry outside the groups. Let us look into the characteristics of the caste system. The Hindu caste system is known as the Varna system. It is divided into 4 groups consisting of Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Sudras. That is the reason why it is known as Chaturvarna or the fourfold division of the society. The Greek traveller Megasthenes mentions 2 important features of caste system in India. They are: 1. There is no intermarriage, and 2. There can be no change of professions. In addition, it has some other important features. 1. Caste is innate. A very important feature of caste system is its absolute rigidity and immobility. A man dies in the same caste in which he is born, and it is the caste that determines his position in life. 2. There are laws concerning food. Caste prescribes certain types of food for different castes. For example, a Brahmin is not permitted to eat non-vegetarian food. Kshatriyas and Vaishyas are forbidden from taking certain kinds of food such as beef. But there are certain groups among Shudras who have the liberty to consume any type of food. 3. Caste is endogamous. Endogamy is the most important element of caste system. It is the chief characteristic feature of the caste system as said by Westermarck. According to this, each individual must marry within his own caste, and that too within his own subgroup. This system is so rigid that intercaste marriages have been totally prohibited, and any violation of the rule involves ostracism, that is, losing membership in the caste. 4. Hierarchical social structure. The caste structure of society is based on the hierarchical system of superordination and subordination held by the relation of superiority or inferiority with one another. At the apex are the Brahmins, and at the lowest end are the Harijans. After the Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, and next to them the Vaishyas are placed in the social structure of the society. At the lowest level are those castes from which the higher caste cannot accept any food or drink. As a result of the hierarchical system, the Brahmins and the Kshatriyas enjoyed a number of social and religious privileges. Thus, fourth important feature of caste system is that it has a definite scheme of social precedence. The whole society is stratified into higher and lower caste. 5. Occupations are fixed. Every caste regards some occupations as its own hereditary and exclusive calling and tries to debar the others from exercising it. The original and exclusive occupation of Brahmin was to perform priestly duties. The Kshatriyas and Vaishyas were to occupy themselves with defense and trade, and the functions of the Sudras were to serve the other caste. But in course of time, this arrangement experienced many changes. The present day India does not reveal these characteristics to any significant degrees. 6. Caste Panchayat. The other feature of caste system is the existence within it of an organization having authority and used to compel obedience from its members. The caste panchayat usually exercises such authority, and it is traditionally concerned with all matters belonging to the code and discipline of caste. It acts as a court of law to give its judgment and impose penalty for the cases of violation of caste practices. 7. Taboos. Caste system imposes several taboos which range from the intercaste interactions to food and occupational pursuits. Food taboo prescribes the kind of food that a man may eat or abstain from eating. Cooking taboo defines the persons who may cook the food for upper caste. Eating taboo lays down the ritual to be followed at meals. Commensal taboo is concerned with whom one may eat one's food with. Origin of the caste system. The caste system in India has been studied with 3 perspectives: Indological, socio-anthropological and sociological. The Indologists have viewed caste from the scriptural point of view, social anthropologists from the cultural point of view, and sociologists from the social stratification point of view. The Indological perspective takes its clue from the scriptures about the origin, purpose and future of the caste system. Those who have used this perspective maintain that varnas have originated from Brahma's body and caste or jati are fissioned units within the varna system, which developed as the result of hypergamy and hypogamy practices. Though the customs and the rituals etc. to be followed by different castes are prescribed in the Smrtis written in about 200 BC. But the regional, linguistic, ethnic and sectarian variations have gradually come to affect the ordering of jati relationships. The object of the caste, origin of the caste according to the Indologist was the vision of the origin of caste, according to the Indologist was the division of labor. The rigidity in the caste system is the result of the beliefs in karma, the deeds, and dharma, duties and obligations, which means that the motive force for the caste dogmas was religious. The Indologist further maintained that since castes are divine, they will continue to exist in future. The cultural perspective of the social anthropologist, according to Hutton, Kroeber, ramifies itself in three dimensions: structural, institutional and relational. The structural view focuses its attention on the origin of the caste system, its development and the process of change in the structure. The institutional approach, John Rio, views caste system not only as a unique phenomenon found in India, but also in ancient Egypt, medieval Europe and present United States etc. The relational approach finds caste situations in army, business, factory, management, politics and so forth. The sociological perspective views caste system as a phenomenon of social inequality. Society has certain structural aspects which distributes members in different social positions. The complex nature of caste system, caste structure is evident from the fact that a meticulous research in the history and functions of the social system, we have no valid explanations of the formation and development of this unique system. Some important theories in connection with the origin and development of caste system are traditional theory, political, religious, occupational, evolutionary and racial theories. Let us look into the traditional theory. According to this theory, the caste system is of divine origin. Vedic literature and Mahabharata explain how caste originated from the supreme creator, the Brahma, and why they were created. This literature throws light on the occupational aspect of caste system and tells that the Brahma created caste so that human being may harmoniously perform various social functions essential for the maintenance of the society. This theory proposes that originally only 4 main castes were created by the said divine will, and later on due to intermarriage between these castes, various subcastes and their branches came into being. The political theory. According to this theory, caste system is a clever device invented and then put into practice by Brahmins in order to place themselves on the highest ladder of social hierarchy and also to maintain themselves in that position. It is in accordance with this viewpoint that Dr. Gurhe has written, caste is a Brahmanic child of Indo-Aryan culture cradled in the land of the Ganges and then transferred to other parts of India by Brahmin prospectors. Let us look into religious theory. This theory proposed that caste system took its origin due to the variation of the deities worshipped by various communities and also due to the superior position of religious rites etc. were given highest status. Occupational theory. This theory finds the origin of caste system in the nature and quality of social work performed by various groups of people. Those professions which were regarded as better and respectable made the person who performed them superior in the eyes of the society, and persons who were engaged in dirty and undignified professions came to be regarded inferior. Gradually, professions divided the whole community into distinct classes, each one associated with particular type of professions or groups of professions. As Nesfield has said, function and function alone is responsible for the origin of caste structure in India. Evolutionary theory. The supporters of this theory, the origin of caste happened from the economic guilds, the process of origin and formation of the caste structure has been an evolutionary process. As man became more civilized, his economic life became more complex and a division of social labor became inevitable. As a result of this, classes appeared in the society, and each class, in order to secure and safeguard its economic interest, formed closed groups which in time developed into caste structure, and various occupations became associated with various castes. Racial theory. According to Risley, who propounded this theory, the Aryans before they came to India was divided into 4 distinct classes, and after they settled in India, those 4 classes developed into 4 castes and later on into other subcastes. According to Dr. Majumdar, the caste system took its birth after the arrival of Aryans in India. They were the conquerors and looked down upon the aboriginals of this country, and hence they maintained their separate existence. Efforts to maintain a separate existence resulted in the evolution of caste structure. Merits of caste system. 1. It has provided every individual with a fixed social environment. In the words of Hutton, individual is provided with a permanent body of association which control almost all his behaviors and contacts. His caste channelizes his choice in marriage, acts as his trade unions, his friendly and beneficent society, his estate, his club, his orphanage. It takes care of sick man, and if it need be provides for the funeral. 2. Caste system has created the spirit of cooperation and fellow feeling among members of the same caste. By helping the poor and needy, it has reduced the burden of the state in supporting the poor. 3. Caste system defines the economic pursuits of individual. Each caste has a fixed occupation so that the child's future is cared out for him. Ancient India had craftsmen and cultivators who were extremely skillful. 4. Racial purity is also preserved through caste system. This is done by forbidding indiscriminate intercaste marriages. The habits of cleanliness are maintained by insisting on ritual purity. 5. Caste system also influences intellectual mobility. It influences the intellectual makeup of an individual. Since the caste dictates to each of its members customs to be observed in the manner of diet, ceremonies or marital alliances, his views on social and political matters are bound to be influenced by the caste customs. The spirit of equality is nourished within the group. Caste system develops class consciousness without breeding class struggles. It has created an efficient organization of Hindu society without giving any chance to class frictions and struggles. It has the best device to organize within one society people of different cultural level, if prevented the country from splitting up into different racial units. It has integrated Indian society into vast community and provided the country with a stable and orderly organization of society. 6. Caste system also helps in cultural diffusion within the caste, that is, the caste customs, traditions, beliefs, behaviors, skills, ideas, trade, secrets are passed on from one generation to the other. In this way, culture is carried on from one age to the other. 7. Various functions which are necessary in the life of an individual are provided by caste system. Functions ranging from education to scavenging, from government to domestic service are made under the sanction of a religious dogma. Let us look into the demerits of the caste system. 1. There are also demerits in the caste system. Since the individual has to follow the caste occupation and cannot change it according to his likes and dislikes, leads to stagnation. It deprives him from doing a job of his choice. Irrespective of one's likes and dislikes, one has to continue only his traditional hereditary occupation. 2. Caste system also leads to untouchability. According to Gandhiji, untouchability is the hatefulest expression of caste. A large section of people are reduced to the state of virtual slavery due to the caste system. Certain sections of the people in the society is branded as untouchables. They were made to live in seclusion and they were deprived of the meager necessities of life. They are actually made to rot in life. 3. Solidarity is also retarded in the caste system. It obstructs the growth of solidarity and brotherhood in the Hindu society by rigidly separating one caste from the another and denying any type of social intercourse between them. 4. Caste system often results in putting a man in the wrong occupation. The caste in which one is born always decides one's position in life or his occupation. He is not permitted to take up any other profession, though he may possess the skill and may like that job. 5. Caste system is also an obstacle to national unity. Caste system provided and proved an obstacle for the growth of national unity, as people from a lower caste have always felt discontented at the place given to them in society. According to J. S. Gourier, it is the spirit of caste patriotism which endangers opposition to other castes and creates an unhealthy atmosphere for the growth of national consciousness. 6. The social and economic progress of the nation is also hampered due to the caste system. Since people believe in the theory of karma, they become conservative in their ideas. 7. Caste system is also undemocratic because it does not give equal rights to all people irrespective of their caste, creed or color. Social barriers are created in the way of lower caste individuals who are not given any freedom in their all-round development, and they are not provided with any opportunities for such developments. It is on this account that modern democracies have discouraged the caste division of society. Changes in the caste system. After the political independence of the country in 1947, besides industrialization and urbanization, other factors which affected the caste system are merger of various states, enactment of several laws, spread of education, socio-religious reform measures and movements, westernization, growth of modern professions, spatial mobility and the growth of the market economy. Broadly speaking, the following changes in the caste functioning may be pointed out in the present times. 1. Caste system is not the process of abolition, but is making adequate adjustment with modern changes. 2. The religious basis of caste has cramped. Old social practices of imposing varied types have dwindled. Caste no longer restricts newly valued individual freedom. 3. Caste no longer determines the occupational career of an individual, though his social status continues to be dependent on his caste membership. 4. Serious efforts are being made to grant equality to the backward caste. 5. Intercaste conflicts are increasing. However, these are more for achieving power than on grounds of ritual status. 6. Casteism has increased. 7. The Jajmani system in the villages has weakened, affecting intercaste relations. 8. The dominance of a caste in a village no longer depends upon its ritual status. 9. Caste and politics have come to affect each other. 10. On the one hand, some caste organizations have strengthened, while on the other hand, a large number of castes have lost their group solidarity and a sense of responsibility. 11. Caste no longer acts as barrier to social progress and to nation's development. India is on the move in spite of caste system. There are two views regarding the present and the future of the caste system. One view is that caste system is fast changing and is weakening, though it is not being disintegrated or abolished. To this school belonged early scholars of the 1950s, 1960s, 1970s. According to D. M. Majumdar, Kuppuswamy, Kolanda and Max Weber, and scholars of the 1980s and 1990s, G. S. Gourier, Desai, Louis Dumont, André Bettel, Yogendra Sikh, T. N. Madan, and these scholars refer to fusion and fission of caste and assimilation of tribes. They pointed out the basic changes in the caste system. 90% of the upper caste people accepted the lower caste people as their fellow diners, enabled him to give a statement that caste cleavages are being levelled up fast. R. K. Mukherjee stated that both the economic aspect, change in occupational specialization, and the social aspect, adoption of higher caste customs, giving up polluting professions, etc., of the caste system have vastly changed. He said that change is more in urban areas where rules on civil and religious disabilities of lower caste have been lifted. Dumont, taking up the question of what is the caste system becoming nowadays, holds that contemporary literature exaggerates change. What is certain is that the caste system as an overall framework has not changed. The only change that seems to have taken place is that the traditional interdependence of caste has been replaced by a universe of impenetrable blocks, self-sufficient and in competition with one another. He calls this the substantialization of caste. Let us look into the future of caste system in India. There is no sign of caste system losing its grip. The only visible change is in the attitude of different castes to rise in caste hierarchy and gain social prestige. While changes in the caste system are continuous and regular, the caste system remains intact for all practical purposes. It must be held that change is not in direction of dissolving the caste system. Some sort of class consciousness has crept into different castes. Electrified by the in-group feeling, they want to hold on to caste system all the more tenaciously. Nowadays, a caste tries to organize itself for social, economic and political purposes. Elections are being fought on caste basis. There are caste organizations also. In this lesson, we have learnt about caste system, which is the most prevalent form of stratification system in Indian society. The Hindu caste system is known as the Varna system. In the caste system, there exist certain rules to be followed by the members. Due to some factors like industrialization, westernization, Sanskritization, modernization and strict legislations, caste system underwent changes.